Are you a supernaturally curious travel enthusiast? Do you prefer Halloween to Christmas? Halls that are decked with frights and phantoms? Well, then you've come to the right place because I am the ghost tourist, and this is Christmas in Stowe, Vermont.
A ghost I fear is near me, dear. A ghost has slipped into my world.
In this episode, we'll learn about the historic Green Mountain Inn and the legend of Boots Berry, its tap dancing phantom. But first, a bit about Stowe. Set at the base of Mount Mansfield, Stowe was chartered in 1763 and today is a popular year-round tourist destination. It's the perfect spot for nature lovers and skiers or anyone who enjoys a weekend in a quaint New England town. But I'm here in the beginning of December for their annual kickoff to Christmas. And as you can see, they thoroughly get in the spirit. We're following along with the Children's Lantern Parade. They're about to light up the library. Oh, looks like Santa waving over there. Hi, Santa. 3, 2, 1. Sounds like they're serving donuts and cider inside the library for the kids. Hey, hit that subscribe button. This year, there's also a production of A Charlie Brown Christmas at the Stowe Community Church. Plus, lots of cute places to holiday shop and meet Santa.
Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey!
And be sure to sample some amazing Vermont baked goods. Yum, 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 yum. Cold brew always. We drove a bit up the mountain and now we're here exploring the Trapp family lodge and brewery. Yes, that Von Trapp family. As you can see, we've got some real wild, dreary winter weather. Look at that atmosphere. It's like I'm in a Dickens novel. Ooh, spooky Christmas fog. After touring the country, they decided to settle in Stowe because the enchanting mountain vista reminded them of their beloved alpine home. And Maria's grandchildren still run the place today, offering a variety of craft-brewed Bavarian lagers and, of course, pretzels. Looks like a beautiful hotel, but we are here in search of ghosts. This is the historic Green Mountain Inn in Stowe, Vermont, and it's where I'm staying for the weekend. The original portion of the hotel was built in 1833 and is on the National Register of Historic Places. Over the years, the inn has expanded along the block for a total of 103 rooms with luxury modern conveniences. Oh my gosh, look at this amazing tub. You can watch the fire. In their 190 years, they've hosted untold weddings and events, as well as notable guests, including America's 21st president, Chester A. Arthur.
I may be president of the United States, but my personal life is nobody's damn business.
But the Green Mountain Inn's most famous lodger may be a permanent one. The inn is said to be haunted by a former 19th-century employee named Boots Berry. His story is the stuff of legend. No one is certain of Boots' given name, but they say he was born in 1840, the son of a chambermaid and stableman, and grew up on the third floor of the inn. He often helped in the stables and, in time, came to be a respected horseman just like his father. Eventually, he rose to local fame when he rescued a family from a runaway stagecoach. He was awarded a medal and lauded around town, and from then on, he found the drinks flowed freely. Unfortunately, the alcohol and fame would be his undoing, and he quickly turned to a life of wine, women, and dance. But Boots began to neglect his duties at the inn, and soon after, to the shame of his family, he was fired from his job. He left Stowe and took to wandering the country, eventually ending up in a prison in New Orleans. But as luck would have it, he met a man who taught him to tap dance, and upon release, he came home to Stowe. He put this newfound skill to work and was taken back at the inn as an entertainer and host, slowly gaining back his good reputation. Then, in December of 1902, there was a terrible snowstorm. There was a really prominent family staying at the inn. They had a little girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and while they were distracted by the season's festivities, she decided she wanted to open the window in her room to look out at the snow. And she had a little dolly, she put it on the sill, and the wind blew the doll out the window, and so she decided to climb out the window to retrieve the doll. And treacherous as the night was, she slid on the ice, she slid down the roof, she screamed, and everyone in the hotel heard it. Once they figured out what was going on, this little girl was trapped on the roof holding on for her life. Everyone panicked, but Boots was the first to react. He grew up at the hotel. He knew the fastest way to the roof, and he was able to get there in time to save the little girl and lower her down to safety. Her family, onlookers, staff were so relieved they gave a great big applause, and Boots, so happy to be back in their good graces, to be back in the limelight, he instinctively straightened, and in so doing, he lost his footing, and he slid from the roof down to his death, right below room 302, the room he was born in. So I just spoke with a night security guard all about Boots. He's had a lot of encounters. He didn't want to be filmed, but he said I was free to share them with you. I think one of the most fascinating stories he told me, he said, his desk faces the old dining room, and there used to be these sliding French doors, really beautiful French doors, and, they're reflective glass. And one night, there's this other employee that he's friends with. They play pranks on each other, and he looks up and he sees this figure of a man on the other side of the glass, sitting in a chair, kind of making faces, fooling around, and haha, it's funny. But then he goes on, to check on his friend and be like, hey, you're 30 minutes overtime, you should go home. And when he opens the door, there's no one on the chair, and the chair topples over. He also said that Boots really likes to unscrew light bulbs. One time he even threw a light bulb, out of the socket, into the guy's hands. And according to one guest, she said she once had towels delivered by the ghost of Boots, and she was very confused to see a man in a heavy wool coat in the middle of August bring a towel to her room. So Boots is still a very helpful member of the staff here at the Green Mountain Inn. So I'm here on the second floor. These are the stairs up to the third floor in the main building, which would have been the room where Boots Berry grew up as a kid. There's a wedding going on downstairs, so it's pretty loud tonight. Appropriate for Boots, who love to dance. So let's see if all that energy kicks up some kind of activity. Let's go take some readings. Witnesses claim you can sometimes hear Boots tap dancing on the roof during snowstorms, and he also has been known to steal keys and turn faucets on and off. Boots, are you still here at the Green Mountain Inn? Are you here with us tonight? If you want to make your presence known, you can move the needle. I'm using a compass here. It's an old 19th-century ghost hunting technique, and if the needle starts to spin, perhaps you're picking up on some unseen energy. They renumbered the room, so I'm not totally sure what 302 used to be, but it's one of these two. Doesn't look like Boots is doing any dancing yet. Did you know, in centuries past, ghost stories were a popular Christmas tradition? Maybe you've heard of an 1843 novella called Christmas Carol? Well, even before Dickens' time, people used to gather by the fire to tell stories of phantoms and ghouls. December is, after all, the darkest month of the year. So why don't you grab some cocoa and cozy up to a fire and join me, the ghost tourist, for a special, chilling Christmas bedtime story. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the town the storm clouds were gathering, and snowflakes fell down. The skiers returned to their inn with great care, in hopes that some dinner soon would be theirs. Mr. Travers decided he'd have just a sip of scotch before bedtime, and perhaps a wee nip. An old man on a bar stool was well in his cups. He spotted young Travers and talked him well up. He spoke of the inn, its history, and Stowe. He spoke of a tragedy from a long time ago, when a man named Boots Barry had fallen to his doom. And now he haunts the inn. There's one particular room. Travers opened his wallet, feeling quite overfed, revealing his room card, the number in red. "Oh, no!" exclaimed the man. His expression grew dour. "That's it. That's the room." He shivered and he cowered. "Have no fear, my dear man," Travers said with a toast, "for there's no such thing. I don't believe in ghosts." They said their goodbyes, and young Travers withdrew. "But, my fellow, you cannot sleep in room 302. The windows were frosted. The night was pitch black. Travers was exhausted, but alas, he must pack. He balled up his clothes, and in quite a swift breeze he pulled out his wallet. But where were his keys? He sprang into action with a frustrated whistle, and downstairs he flew like the down of a thistle. To the restaurant he stumped, but the keys were not there. He braced himself for the chilly night air. Outside, near his car, he retraced his steps. He dug through the snow and grew quite perplexed. He returned to the inn with numb, tingling hands, and there, by his bed, sat the keys on the stand. His goosebumps prickled, and what he feared most was the insane notion that it may be the ghost. "I do not believe in ghosts," he muttered to the room. He listened to the storm outside. The wind was out of tune. When up on the roof there arose such a clatter, he sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Tap, tap, tat, tap, tap, tat, like hail upon the roof. Perhaps the snow had turned to ice. He'd glance outside for proof, but from the window all he saw were light flakes of snow. The sound continued, tap, tat, tat. His fear began to grow. And then, in a twinkling, a dawning light grew. The sounds he heard, they were absurd, but all at once he knew. The man who died so long ago had been a dinner host. Tuxedo-clad, he'd smile and sang, but loved to dance the most. The room grew quite cold. Travers chattered his teeth. The cacophony encircled his head like a wreath. Alas, what he heard, he could no longer refute. It was the syncopated tap and step of each steel-toed boot. Wrapped inside his blanket, he fled into the hall. When all was silent out the door, no sounds were heard at all. Perhaps he was just going mad and should be diagnosed, but no more would he dare say that he did not believe in ghosts. Travers gathered his things and fled down the stair. He checked out at 3 and left with a flare. They heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good right." Well, that's the end of our stay here. Didn't have any ghostly experiences last night. But had a wonderful time. I love the room, the jacuzzi tub, the fireplace. Highly recommend the Green Mountain Inn. One final stop before we hit the road. Vermont is also known for its beautiful covered bridges, although this one, Emily's Bridge, is reportedly haunted by the spirit of a jilted lover. If you want to learn more about it, check out my YouTube shorts. Thanks for watching the Christmas special of The Ghost Tourist. Remember to be careful if evoking the spirits this holiday season. And I'll see you in the new year.
My dear, a ghost has slipped into my world.